So everybody wants to know what are the chances that the Bears have to actually make the playoffs. What is going on, y'all? Fox Sports Talk back at it with another video talking, of course, some NFL. Here to talk about the Bears. So if you're a Bears fan or an NFL fan at large, make sure to go ahead and subscribe. I drop weekly videos on this channel, so you're going to want to go ahead and subscribe by hitting the big red subscribe button down below and turn on my post notification by hitting the bell icon down below to be notified every time I drop a new video. And guys, make sure to follow me on my social media links down below and on the screen. My Twitter, my Instagram, you guys can reach out to me. That's where you guys can link with me. With that being said, you guys see the board behind me. I am going to break this whole thing down for you guys. I'm going to break down how it's possible for the Bears to make the playoffs because, yes, they are, of course, still in it. And coming off a big victory on national TV versus the Dallas Cowboys, the Bears' playoff chances did go up. So, with 3 games left, what do the Bears have to do, or more importantly, what has to happen with the other teams for the Bears to make the playoffs? So, what you guys see in front of you on the board is essentially all of the teams that are with the Bears in that NFC playoff bubble and all of their remaining games. Okay, and I want to give a shout out to Mark Potish, I believe that's his name, on Twitter, who actually had this, and I got the idea from him, so I'm just sharing this. So I want to give credit where it's due. But basically, I'm going to break down all of the remaining games, what has to happen, because here's the thing, okay? This is the mistake that a lot of people are making is the Bears can win out and still not make the playoffs, okay? So it's not just that the Bears have to win out. They don't actually just control their own destiny, okay? Because even if they win out and certain things happen with other teams, they still don't make the playoffs. So that is something that is important here. What are the Bears' official playoff chances now, as of now, after that victory against the Cowboys at 7-6? It's 5%. So again, I told you guys, it's still very difficult to see the Bears making the playoffs. Technically, it's 4.98%, but I rounded to 5. Who's counting? So 5% is what the Bears' playoff chances are. And again, that's very little. But again, let's walk through the scenario. So we've got the Bears right here. And essentially, we know the Bears got the victory over the Cowboys here. And so we've got that. Next 3 games that the Bears have are against at Green Bay in Lambeau, at home versus the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a Sunday night primetime game, by the way. Just pointed that out. And then finish off the season at Minnesota, okay? And I want to focus on, obviously, the Vikings real quick. And then the other teams here as well are important. The Rams and the Vikings are the 2 most important teams for the Bears. The Eagles and Cowboys don't matter as much, and the Panthers not as much either. Technically, they're still not eliminated. That's why we have them on here. The point being is let's focus on the Vikings and the Rams, because if we take a look down here, okay, you see these are the division leaders at this point through week 13, start of week 14. Saints, Seahawks, Packers, Cowboys. Yeah, don't you wish you were in the NFC East right now? The Packers are leading the division at 6-7. The Bears would be first place in the freaking NFC East, but we get to be in the toughest division in pro football in the NFC North. So, if you take a look at the 3 teams here, you know damn well. Okay, let's just not, kid ourselves. Saints, Seahawks, Packers, they're making the playoffs, okay? So, essentially, I'm just going to put a mark by them to Saints clinch, and I believe the Saints clinched their division already, okay? So, all 3 of these teams are making the playoffs, and it's essentially between the Cowboys and the Eagles who makes that, so that's that division. But again, I don't want to give them a playoff berth, but it doesn't really matter for the Bears' purposes just because of the fact that whoever wins this division is making the playoffs. The other team probably isn't. Most likely isn't. Then we come over here. We've got the 49ers at 10-2. Okay, they're making the playoffs, okay? That's how hard the NFC West is, by the way, too. NFC North is very tough, but the NFC West is tough as well because look at the records here. So 49ers would be a wild card team at this point, okay? Then this is where the Bears come in because the Bears, and let me actually include this on here. The Bears are 7-6. The Vikings are 8-4. And the Rams are 7-5. So 4 playoff spots, 5 really locked up. That leaves you with one wild card. That's all. Okay, so one spot, and you got essentially 1, 2, 3 teams. Technically, 4, 5, because there's a bunch of teams not eliminated yet. But technically, realistically, 3 teams competing for it: the Bears, the Vikings, and the Rams. So how the heck can the Bears pull this off? Well, I'm glad you asked, okay? Because here's the thing: if the Bears go 9-7, which is essentially even lose one game, which seems very likely here, and the loss, let's just say against Kansas City, they go 9-7, they can still make the playoffs if the following happens. The Vikings also go 9-7 and they lose the last game against the Bears, which would give us the tiebreaker. And then the Rams go 8-8 by losing their 3 out of their next 4 games. And essentially that's what you would want for the Bears to make the playoffs. So this is the part where I told you we don't control our own destiny here, because even if the Bears win their next 3 games, go 10-6, but the Vikings, who are right now 8-4, if the Vikings don't lose another game, they're obviously going to get that wild card spot over the Bears, okay? So same thing here with the Rams. If they don't lose another game, they'll get the wild card spot, or actually, depending on what happens with the Rams and Vikings. Basically, point being is the Bears don't control their own destiny. They need the other teams to lose, okay? So point being is, for the Bears, obviously you want to win out. You take a look at the fact at Green Bay versus Kansas City at Minnesota, folks. That's a very tough schedule to end the year. My God. I mean, the Bears probably will lose one of those games for sure, if not 2. But again, let's just say they don't. Let's say they only lose 1 at 9-7. You need the Vikings. Okay, let's say they win against Detroit, which they probably will. At the Chargers, that's tough. Okay, but you need them to lose. Green Bay, absolutely. And then the Bears. So this scenario, I see the Vikings going 2-2, which would obviously put them at 10-6, and then the Bears at 9-7. Obviously, 10-6 would win out. So you really need them to lose 3 out of 4. And then the Rams here. Let's take a look at the Rams. They played the Seattle Seahawks. Absolutely, the Seahawks can beat them. They can lose to them. Cowboys, they can lose to the Cowboys. San Francisco 49ers, they can absolutely lose to the 49ers. And then the Rams, they can beat the Rams. So 8-8 actually seems very likely for the LA Rams based off their schedule. So I'm really worried about the Vikings, folks. The Vikings are the team that really scares me because, again, they're 8-4, we're 7-6. If they end up winning, majority of their games, because right now we have them losing 3 out of their last 4, then the Bears got no shot. They won't make the playoffs. So I essentially pay attention to the Minnesota Vikings and what they do. But obviously, the Bears are the most important than the Vikings, then the Rams. Okay? So point being is, that is how the Bears can make the playoffs. Essentially, it is a do-or-die scenario. But the Bears can afford to lose a game depending on what happens with the Minnesota Vikings. It's not like they have to win everything. But again, they also need the Vikings to lose. So, again, very slim chance, 5% to be exact. So don't get your hopes up completely, but there is a possibility here. Listen, folks, I'm just saying, the Bears are red hot right now. We go to Lambeau and we beat the Packers. Here's the thing. These division games, they're always tricky. These teams know each other. They play them close. Who knows, We beat the Packers, and then Kansas City is the game that scared me. That is the game, but we're at home. Patrick Mahomes hasn't looked that great lately. They've scored under 20 points in their last couple of games. They just lost to running back Darrell Williams. They're not super healthy. And remember, the Rams came to Soldier Field in the cold, and they didn't look like a shell of themselves. Now, of course, Patrick Mahomes is on another level than Jared Goff, but you get my point here. Okay, in unideal conditions, you never know. And then Minnesota, I am damn sure we can beat the Vikings. Even in Minnesota, we always had the Vikings numbers, especially the past 2 seasons. So I can totally see that happening. So I'm just saying, still a very slim chance. Right here, 5%. But a chance nonetheless. So there you have it, folks. I hope that helps you guys understand the playoff picture. I think the biggest thing I will keep harping on is, boy, I wish we were in the NFC East. The Bears would be number one right now in that division. The NFC East is a joke. The NFC North and the NFC West are insanely tough. So there you have it, folks. That is how the Bears can make the playoffs, and those are the chances the Bears have. So if you were to put a gun in my head and say, what are the chances the Bears make the playoffs? I'm going to probably go a little bit higher than that. I'll give them I think if Minnesota loses next week, the Bears' chances double at 10%. So I'll double that and say the Bears have like a 20 to 30% chance. That's where I'm at. Let me know what you guys think. What are the chances the Bears make the playoffs? Boy, would that be nice. Leave a comment down below. Actually, give me a percentage down below of the percentage chance you think the Bears have to make the playoffs. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Please make sure to subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.